Greetings, bays, bows, and boos. My name is Jade Hollow, and I would like to welcome you to The Locked Tome, a YouTube channel where I talk about all things horror. I didn't think I was going to make a video about the horror movie Tarot from 2024. It was pretty unanimously received poorly, although many people were kind enough to not review bomb it out of respect for the monster designer creator. The concept artist, Trevor Henderson, put notable effort into making his creatures creepy and deserved praise for that, despite how the directing ended up using them. And I agree. Much love to him, the monsters looked great. Tarot was one of those movies that's listed as a horror comedy as if it were trying to mitigate potential criticism, because it wasn't funny and didn't really try to be. It played up some moments to amusing effect, but they were not humorous so much as an okay acknowledgement of the average behavior of horror movie characters. Like this scene where they're looking up bad tarot deck history. Their blind will to fall down a rabbit hole with one person being pouty in the corner was alright. Unfortunately, any faith I gained in those small moments was obliterated by the continuously, absolutely nonsensical actions of the main characters. They were written like they were determined to die, by doing the one thing that would kill them, as openly discussed and agreed upon by the rest of the group. All this chick had to do was not run. But the ghosties got all spooky and wrote "run on the window," so, she lost all common sense and booked it from the safety of the car for reasons. And, might I add, none of the rest of them restrained her? Terrible friends. Which leads into the infamous argument with this goober, where the main female lead is literally begging him not to do the one thing that will get him killed based on his tarot reading, which is to go off on his own in a stubborn way. Although he was one of the first to agree with the supernatural stuff going on and how it worked, he's just like, nah, I'm just gonna go die alone, thanks. Don't even get me started on this bitch that hides in a clearly identifiable magic set box from a killer magician who is putting on a show 20 feet away. If you want a better, more entertaining summary of the insanity of character choices, I'd suggest checking out Mr. Gigi's video. It will be linked in the description below. All that said, I didn't think it was going to be worth my time making a video on tarot because it's being covered pretty well already. But here we are, because I found something else really interesting about the movie that had nothing to do with the acting, character choices, or admirable monster designs. Funnily enough, I ended Tarot with much the same mindset as I had with Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, whose continuity constantly left me boggled. In Tarot 2024, I found some beautiful examples to use as a learning experience. So, what's on the chalkboard today, kiddies? It's jump scares. More specifically, when they're done so poorly that they end up calling attention to the director's intent and laziness, and exposing themselves as hollow attempts to scare, with nothing really going on but a loud noise and a spooky face popping up. So I'm not going to go into dissecting how to construct a proper jump scare. Hopefully you know what is and isn't effective and vaguely know why. If the magic of getting spooked is entirely unknown to you, there's lots of videos on YouTube about the science of cinematography, but I mean, if you'd rather keep it a mystery, that's okay too. I'm not gonna ruin it for you. Me, on the other hand, I'm going to pick apart why Tarot's jump scares didn't work, because they all failed in the same way. The monster's actions were entirely absent of reason, except to be a jump scare. It breaks the fourth wall and exposes the directing's intentions to be spooky, rather than actually end up being spooky. You'll find that the same often goes for the writing of bad characters, where there's no logic or consistent reason why they would make a certain decision, aside to progress the plot in a direction the writer wanted, but didn't actually naturally work. Together, we are going to interrogate the actions of the monsters in this movie as a means of exposing the blatant intent of the movie to shove in as many needless and ineffective jump scares as possible. The easiest example of this is the Death Tarot. If the Death Tarot was genuinely trying to kill the female lead, why would it repeatedly, quite literally jump out to scare her, then do nothing and let her run away? The answer is that it wouldn't. It's all just a means to throw up a scary image, make a loud noise, and leave enough space that they can shamelessly do it again. The next genuine offender was the Hanged Man Tarot. Did he need to pop up, smash around, and generally terrorize the occupants of a car for a few minutes when its actual intended prey had already fled the scene? Nope. After it hooked its victim with its noose, did it need to drop her down again? I mean, that is how you hang someone, but it played out as being a lot more to send a message to the other characters than to finish the job of killing her. Which I gotta ask, why would it feel the need to intimidate them? It waited on its timing and then it dropped her kind of just to prove a point. Maybe he's got sentience of his own, but I don't know why he would. But then, to cap the interaction off, it hoists its victim up again in the rafters, to the bridge, to this loud sound. What is this communicating? Is he eating her now, or just screeching? If anything, the outcome of her tarot reading about water under the bridge should have ended with the sound of her body splashing to water below, not whatever the fuck that was. Again, loud, spooky noises with no purpose. In that same vein, the High Priestess Tarot, after killing the first victim with a ladder, just randomly screeches into the ether once the deed is done. There's no one here, lady. You're doing that just for us, for the movie viewers. And it's just weird and unnecessary. They played some stupid lines at the end about the evil astrologer being in pain and not having been able to pass on and all that, but I'm not willing to accept that in the first place, let alone believe that this manifestation she's created to murder people is also super tormented about having just bludgeoned a girl to death. It is noticeable when actions have no discernible purpose in movies, at least I find it to be. The High Priestess Tarot literally just screamed to scream. Onto the Magician, he was obviously going to do the sawing in half trick, so why did he bother giving her a boo through the keyhole or stabbing the box so much before doing it? He's not getting off on her fear, as far as I can tell, based on what they've given me and what these creatures really are. And it's not for the audience sitting there, because they can't see it either. It really is just for us, the fourth wall sitting moviegoers. But now onto the prime example, the Six of Swords Tarot. No idea what this woman's actual game plan was to stop and overpower the astrologist poltergeist. She didn't really get that far insofar as informing us, the viewers, that any of this had any chance of success, yet I digress. She gets the Six of Swords card and starts decaying or some shit due to the power of the force she's fighting, and when she loses the Force of Will battle, the card comes true. But not in any conventional way you might think the literal depiction of a half dozen swords through the back might. Instead, the entity just does a spookums by ripping her away into the darkness. You'd think that would be the last time that we'd see her. It didn't involve a sword, but whatever, she's gone, undeniably dead. Then, as the remaining characters are running away in fear, the card reader drops from the ceiling, finally full of swords instead. What was the line of reasoning here? On the astrologist's part? Except to scare the kids. She's a murderous entity. Why is she manufacturing jump scares that are in no way intended to harm or kill them? As an aside, if I was writing it, I would have handled her death with the swords slowly pushing through her from behind, trapped within the reading circle as the other characters watch on helplessly. Some movies don't seem to understand that things are much more brutal when they are slow sometimes, and it would incorporate the theme without an unnecessary rip-away jump scare. It's not rocket science. It would have just made sense. Now, there are two examples of tarots left, the two which I'm sure are top offenders for a lot of other people, but I left them for the end because I thought that they were funny. Not funny haha, but funny in the sort of, wow, I can't believe I just watched that kind of way, which has a bit of merit compared to the blatant nonsense of other tarot monsters. The Jester, this was just ridiculous. Not scary, not necessarily funny, definitely odd. At least the arcana itself makes sense to be doing totally random memey things to his victim. He's literally clowning on him. What an absolute shit disturber. We love to see it. And then there's Lantern Guy. He jump scares his victim to death. I'm not joking. 100%, he jump scares the guy here, and then there, and then here, then there, until boo, he falls out of the door into an oncoming train. The sequence was so long and egregious, me and my viewing partner were sitting there commenting on how we wish he'd just die already, and that the main character himself probably already wished he was dead because that seemed so fucking annoying to be put through. Although drawn out, it was admittedly pretty amusing. I found it interesting, although I don't think it was intended as a hilarious meta-commentary on their own usage of jump scares throughout the rest of the movie, because he's only the second death, and that would require a rewatch to appreciate. So what have we learned from shitting on all these tarot card monster reactions? We have learned that characters' intentions matter. It doesn't matter if they're a main character, a side character, a monster, or even a non-sentient manifestation. If they do something, there needs to be some kind of discernible reason. If you're writing something, don't overthink it. But if you can't answer the simple question, why did this character do that, and it's not something that's inherent to existence that a viewer or reader can assume, then you kind of have a problem. Like, you don't have to explain why a character has a drive to live, because nobody wants to die. But you should probably have a reason they decide to flip a switch and go on a homicidal rampage. You know, that sort of thing. If there's no reason to your character's actions, you, the wizard pulling the strings behind the camera, become apparent. When the fourth wall is broken and it's not meant to be, it's very jarring. I think Tarot would have been... Okay, well, there was a lot of flaws, but it would have been a lot more acceptable, just not great horror movie rather than a supremely bad horror movie if all of the extra little things that the monsters of the movie didn't make any sense toward their presumable actual goals. Who knows, if they didn't address the audience so much with manufactured jump scares, where I'm like, oh wow, gee, thanks, I really needed that, then I probably wouldn't have been so out of my suspended disbelief to have had such an awful time watching it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Like if you liked the video, if you appreciated this and want to support me, this channel, and anything else that I do, there's a link to my Ko-fi in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.